up your mind, drown out the noise, and see if this connected. And see if this connected.
What's up, fam? The mission of this Connected podcast is to connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way. To not necessarily agree, but be listened to. These conversations, of course, highlight the perspective of our various guests, and you are always welcome to agree or even disagree. But as always, we hope that it is done in charity. Now, here's your host, Catholic.Dad.
Welcome back, fam, for another episode of This Connected. And we're following up in our DTR episodes for this month of September. Last week, we had Josue and Sarah, youth minister of St. Mary's, and her fiance, Josue, the all-around guy. And this week, we have another one that's special. I have with me two people. You are people. Yes, they are people who are part of Spero Worship. They're from Riverside, I'm not sure. But they're going to introduce themselves. Actually, what I asked, and it's super cute. He's going to introduce her, and she's going to introduce him. So, fam, here are our guests for this new episode of DTR.
Hello, this is my wife, Jenny Alarcon. And she is my wife of 2 years so far. We just got past our second year anniversary.
He doesn't sound sure.
And I am speaking carefully so I don't make mistakes. And so I don't say too much.
There, he did.
And I did. Okay. So she is a teacher, teaches kindergarten, and has been a musician for many, many years, has a beautiful voice, and can play the piano and guitar. And I'd say her other special talent is putting up with me and my shenanigans. And she's beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll top that.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you love? You guys are watching this. You guys can't see this on YouTube. She grabbed his arm. Oh, that's just love that young love.
Yes. So this is my husband, Anthony, of 2 years, and I love him very much. He's a really, really great guy. He's also a teacher. He just became a 6th grade teacher. We actually just got through our first week of school, so we just survived that, which is great. And he also plays guitar. He has other instruments too. He has learned the drums these past couple of years. Let's see. He plays the bass, and that was his first instrument. He sings and writes songs, and he's a really great cook. He just got a new grill that he's been super excited about. He's been grilling really great things for us. Wow. We actually had Spero over the other day, and we grilled for them, and that was a good time. Yeah, he grilled, not me. But
Patio Pro.
Yes.
For $79.99.
Yeah, which really is great for me because I hate grilling, but I love inviting people who grill.
Mm-hmm. Well,
as long as I can bring my grill, we're good.
Yes. But I very much appreciate him, and he's also helped me grow a lot of my faith since the moment we met.
That's beautiful. And you know what? In this episode, in the last episode, we had 2 people who are engaged. And then now we have 2 individuals who are actually married, 2 years in and loving it, and professionals. And I love that you guys focused a lot with what you said is we're both teachers. And I can just picture this in my mind when you're saying that is the 2 of you correcting papers and then saying, okay, let's stop. Let's sing a song. And in the kitchen singing songs, because my parents used to do that. You know, it was so romantic. It was like, you know, he would come home and he's singing as he's coming home, and he the neighbors would say they know that he's about ready to go home because he's singing, and then my mom hears him, and then she responds back in song. So their conversation was always in song. Now, let me ask you, is that how your conversation is? You're like, hey, Jenny, I'm back, and here I am, and then you're responding back in song.
I don't think so. I do that in my class. Actually, I sing to them. I'll be like, oh no, I need to go give myself a point because some friends are not listening. Because we've been doing teacher versus student. And when they're doing a great job, they get points. And when they're not doing not a great job, then I get a point. So I just make up random songs sometimes with them. But yeah, we haven't really had that experience. But we do grade things alongside each other, plan things for our class alongside each other.
That's super cute, because it's like what I envision young couples is that you're just partying all the time. But here you have your life, your teachers, you have your professional life, but then you're part of a band. How did that come about?
That is a good question. We were bullied into it. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No. How did we become a band?
We grew up as musicians, and I was part of other bands in high school.
So was I.
And he was as well. And then I've always been a part of the choir at my parish, and that has always continued until pretty much the pandemic. But our friend Hillary, which I'm sure you've met.
Hugh.
Yeah,
I know
a lot of
Hillary.
a lot of you guys might
Hopefully
know
he'll
Hillary.
come on sometime in
Yes.
October
Yeah.
on our episodes on dying to self.
Mm-hmm. He has a lot of great ideas, and he had the idea of putting together a band full of alumni, because we met at the Newman Center, St. Andrews Newman Center.
At UCR.
Yes.
Through the Catholic through the Catholic club there at CSF.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a retreat. We were on a church retreat. That's how we met. It was the final year that the Dominicans were there. It used to be run by the Dominicans before the diocese.
Wow.
And they took us on a retreat. I was at UCR. I had just graduated UCR, and Jenny was not from UCR, but she went to Fullerton. But
Mm-hmm.
that was a special year because they were leaving. They opened it up to a lot of other people to join.
Other college students.
Yeah, other college students to
Mhm.
join, from usually restricted to UCR and RCC,
Mhm.
but that year was special. And
Yes.
so we
That's
met
where
there.
we met.
So Tony, paint us a picture of how you guys met.
Oh boy. I think we have different different visions of what happened.
Yes.
I always like to hear how the guy sees it, because it's like it's
Mhm.
never the way that it actually happened.
Yeah, we've spoken about it
We've spoken
before,
about it.
and I'm like, what? That's what
Okay,
you
all
think
right. So
happened?
here's the deal. I was there. The reason why I wanted to really go on this retreat was because my first year at CSF, I got really sick. I ate a bad burrito, and I literally got sick on the way up to the mountain. It's in Big Bear, and my stomach was hurting. By the time got there, this was my senior year at college, so I didn't find the Catholic Newman. I didn't find my faith till the end of my junior year at college. So I'm a revert. So
Wow.
that's all.
So
That's
not in high school.
no, not in high school. No high school formation. Nothing like that. I was atheist for a long time, and
So you're the opposite of most people.
Yeah.
Who are on fire in high school, and they lose it in college.
It's true.
yeah, I didn't have the fire.
Wow.
So I discovered it in my junior year of college, and it was, again, Hillary was the one he's the one that fished me out. And again, that's a whole nother story. But so I found the Catholic Newman Center, and there I got to grow in my faith. And what was I going with that again before?
How did we
How did
meet?
you-
How do we meet? Okay.
See?
Okay.
That's
So
what we asked the
I
guy.
got sick. That's right. So my first year, this was my first retreat ever. I got sick. I went up to the mountain. I was puking. I turned white and other things were happening, which I don't really want to say,
Mhm.
but I felt like death, and people said that I was on the brink of it, from what they saw. And I didn't get better until that Sunday. I was starting to feel better. You know, I could hardly keep down my food, but by then I was better. So I felt robbed of my first church retreat. So I wanted to go again after I graduated that year. And that was the year that I met Jenny. And because it was open to everyone to join. And she came to the retreat by invitation from a mutual friend who went to RCC.
Was that a setup?
No.
Not at all.
It was
Mhm.
completely Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Continue.
And let me throw the stakes a little bit more. During this time, I was discerning what I was going to do. You know, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't know, you know, how am I going to pay for it? How am I going to do all this and that? And I actually wanted to, my plans were to go to Japan to teach English for about a year, maybe, and to get accepted into the JET, or there was another program. I missed the deadline for JET, but there was another one that was available to me. I had some issues with paperwork and grades relating to me graduating.
Mhm.
So I wasn't able to just get things in on time. And so it delayed me enough time to go to the retreat. And there again, I found Jenny, and I saw that eventually, and I'll get to how we connected.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
like, okay.
I am
First started with a
Lot of
burrito.
stories.
in Japan.
I love context. So, and to
I
a
said
fault.
paint a picture. He's like,
I'm
He's
painting a
like-
tapestry. So anyway, I wanted to go to Japan, right? But meeting Jenny at the retreat changed all that for me.
wow.
And it began with her friend introducing us, you know, get to know each other, because she was a musician, and our friend knew that I was also a musician, and she suggested, hey, you should get to know my friend. She sings really well. And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, she sings well. Okay, cool. And then it wasn't until did we get introduced the first day, or I think it might have been
Saturday night.
Saturday
Evening.
in the day. I think it was still in the day. No,
I think it was.
okay, evening,
Trust her.
early,
She knows.
early evening. We got introduced, and so then later on that evening, and on retreats, you know, people don't sleep. College retreats, people don't
Mhm.
sleep. So we were kind of up late-ish, and I had my guitar. I brought my guitar with me, and then I saw her and her friend sitting at a bench by themselves. They were writing. I think you guys were writing affirmation notes to others
Mhm.
in their groups and all that on the retreat. And so I just came up to them and just started saying, hey, you know, I have this song that I've written. Can you help me? Or I want to hear how you would sing it.
What a pickup
Yeah.
line.
And so, no, I was literally just trying to see how my friend said she's really good. So, okay, let's see if she can. I want to see how she picks up this song that I just give it to her, and I just start playing, and see what
Yeah, he
happens.
just presented the lyrics.
Yep. And
He
I
didn't
played
sing
it.
anything. I was like, okay, what's the melody like, so I can try to sing it? And he's like, no, I want you to sing it how you think it would fit into these chords. So
And you thought, what a jerk.
I was confused. I was like, sorry if this sounds bad, because I don't know where you want me to go with this song. But
Yeah. So, yeah. And then from there, it just evolved into us.
Wait, you did sing it, right?
She did.
I don't remember what I sang, but I sang something.
She sang something, yeah.
And you thought, wow,
Well, no, okay. So
careful.
at first I was like, well, it's not really fitting. It's a little, I was being a little critical.
Yes, you did say that.
I said it's not really fitting. So then I gave her the melody, and then what really caught my ear was when she started harmonizing with me. And I don't think I didn't ask her to do that. I don't believe, and she just did it. And I was like, whoa, she does sing good. And so that was when the switch went off.
And then she turned you off.
No.
Was that how it went for you, Jenny?
So you want my side of the story?
Yeah,
Okay.
the truth.
Well, are you done?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay.
sounds like I'm done.
Okay. So
And here's how it really happened, folks.
So yes, I was at a choir practice one night, which is where I have met my friend Cynthia, who is the one who introduced me to him. So I had only been on a confirmation retreat and then never anything else. So I was telling her that I was in my junior year of college, or my 4th year, but I took an extra year. So I was telling her I haven't gone to a retreat since my confirmation and I really want to go to something like that. And then she said, oh, I'm part of the CSF club and they are putting a retreat together soon. I can try to see if I can get permission for you to go. So then I was like, oh, okay, that would be cool. And she did. And she also got permission for my other friend, Adrian, to come. They're both my best friends. They're both in our wedding also. So they're very special to us. Yeah.
They caused it.
Yes. So me and Adrian go to the retreat and we don't know anyone, but right away I'm like, whoa, these are all really college students and they chose to be here. They chose to come and grow in their faith. I was there to, grow in my faith. I felt like something had been missing. I've always, gone to mass. I sang at mass every Sunday. I prayed every day, but that was about it. So seeing that was very powerful. And I had a really, really great confession Saturday in the morning of that retreat. And then Cynthia, the one that got us to go, me and my friend Adrian, she introduced me to a lot of people because we didn't know anyone. So every time she introduced me to people, she said, oh, this is Jenny. She sings really good. Oh, this is Jenny. She sings really good. Oh, this is Jenny. She sings really good. So he was one of the ones that she told that as well. So people have introduced me to other friends that way, even outside of the retreat. And even though Cynthia said she sings really good, she also mentioned to the people, you should hear her sing, kind of thing. So usually people never come back and actually see, like ask me to sing for them, which I probably wouldn't be really afraid of anyway. I like big audiences, not like small, tiny ones. I prefer big audiences. So it surprised me that he actually later in the night actually did come back to me and asked me to, share my voice with him.
Sing for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, he came with his crazy question about sing this song. I'm not gonna sing it for you, but you sing it how you want. Yeah. And then he gave me pointers and I was kind of like, okay, well, you told me to sing it and I don't know how it goes, so why are you being all critical? But I was like, okay, whatever. But I was with my friend Adrian the whole time, like he said, and she stayed with us as well. But yeah, after the music part, he just shared his whole story with us.
Yeah.
I
didn't leave any mystery.
Yeah.
I poured everything out, and because, and I stand firm on this, I was just trying to make a friend. I was just trying to be friendly, and from my understanding, being vulnerable at a retreat can be very powerful to people, and so I just wanted to be vulnerable in that way, and hopefully something would inspire her from what I said. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my intention. I was trying to do the good work of God and share my witness and testimony. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jenny's like, creepy.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I was like, whoa, he shared a lot. And then my friend, because we were up, there was other people up,
It's like
we were up till
common lodge.
2 or 3 at the retreat. Yeah.
That's usually how retreats go.
I know, but I was not expecting that at all. And I think on the way up, my friend and I were wondering if he would meet anyone, but I was like, I'm there for myself. I'm trying to grow in my faith, which I did. I feel like from Friday night to work between Saturday, I really did grow a lot and learn new things. which helped me be open to the things he shared with me.
Mhm.
Because usually before that, I would have been turned off. But yeah, whatever I learned, I became more open and accepting of the things he shared with me with his past.
And that's beautiful, because I think the purpose of being there is to grow in faith and to have Christ and the Holy Spirit and the Lord all present.
Mhm.
And I love those retreats, and I love them for youth and young adults, because most people come to retreats feeling alone. And when they understand that you didn't come alone, you brought the Holy Spirit with you,
Mhm.
and Jesus Christ, and the triune God is always with you all the time. And you come back understanding that, but you came back with 4.
Yeah.
You had a Tony tagging along.
Yeah, so that's how we met.
That's how we met.
you
That's how we met. And so, we met through music in a way, and we wanted to make those charisms that we have as musicians, put it to good use, and try to hopefully fill a space with music as Spero for people who need events, music for their events, adoration, praise and worship things, and just try to make that happen. And in service, not for ourselves, but for the Lord. One thing that really stuck out to me when you had our drummer Archie on your show was how we have a sacramental presence. How we always want to include the sacraments, whether it's adoration, confession, and a message from a priest. Just
and you know what?
Yeah.
That's important. And I love the fact that what you guys do is so Christ-centered, that each and every single one of you at Spero is so gifted and talented. And every single one of your gifts and talents point to Christ. And I see many people who are gifted, but they point that gift towards themselves. And I always find that awkward. But when you guys sing, and you guys really need to catch them on their Instagram, Spero Worship, Spero_worship. And you can literally listen to Jenny belt out a song, and you're like, those are the voices of angels. And that's so beautiful. And then you say, and what does he do? I'm just kidding.
No, I just stand there. No.
Yeah. Most people know I roast people on the show, but it's mostly the guys, because they deserve it. But I put out some questions, and I love you guys' stories. But when you said, "Hey, put out some questions," I did, and some of the questions did come out. And and be careful what you ask for.
Okay.
But I before we get on to, because I know you guys have a special message that you want to reach young people and young adults that you want to share, and that's why I asked you guys to come on the show, is to share that message. And so before we get to that message, I just want to get through some of these quirky questions. And so here's the first one. It's from a person named Alex. It's simple, and he says, "What keeps your guys' spark alive?" Not the reason why I asked that question because of sparks, but because the question was just so good. So what keeps you guys? What keeps your spark alive?
It's a good question.
It's a good
That I don't know if we've thought of that before.
I think so far it's been rediscovering our relationship in our different modes of life, because we've had a different relationship when we were friends at first, different relationship when we dated, different relationship when we became engaged, or boyfriend and girlfriend, and it just continues to evolve throughout time. When we became engaged, things just got deeper and deeper with respect to who we are to each other in the context of Christ. And so we learn more about each other in giving ourselves to Christ by going, deep to the sacraments, going to mass, listening to the homilies, listening to Catholic podcasts, and talking to other married couples, and we learn more about who we are through our faith.
The experience.
And I get to see my my now wife in a different way that I could not see her when I was when we were dating. And I think that's going to continue, God willing, when we have children. That's going to be even more. I'm going to be able to discover Jenny as a mother, and me being conscious of that. We look forward to that, and
I can't wait to see
Yeah.
your face when that happens. It is an amazing feeling when you see your wife give birth. I mean, I'm starting to tear because I
Me too.
remember
Same.
that, and to see the fruit of what God has put together, and it's like it's such a different kind of love. It's a love that is that's when you really understand how much God loves us, to give us his only begotten son as a sacrifice for us. And it's like, yeah, I'll never be God because I can't sacrifice mine for you. But that's how much that beauty of that gift, once you feel that, I tell people, once you feel and experience that, you truly understand what Eucharist is. What Eucharist is. It's like, no, now I'm starting to cry. But okay, so here's the thing. How long were you guys dating? How long before you guys got married?
So
2 months?
we met in
I wish.
November of 2016, and we hung out as friends. By January 7th, 2017, we became a couple. So we became boyfriend and girlfriend. So yeah, before the retreat, I would have been like, I need to know someone for 6 months as friends before I become their girlfriend. But yeah, something was very different about him, and I became more open after that retreat. So we dated, or we're a couple. Let's see. We got married in we got engaged in
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
2018 November. So like
Less than 2 years.
around our 2-year friendship anniversary.
2-year friendship. Yeah. So I think it was 2-year friendship anniversary, and less than 2 years being boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, just under 2 years of being boyfriend and girlfriend. And then we were engaged from November till the next July.
So about 8 months, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So about less than 3 years, you guys were hitched.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
So question, do you guys believe in long engagements?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Good answer.
don't be Pam and Jim. I mean, Pam and Roy. Sorry.
Don't know who you are, but he just threw you out there. Okay. So, this one's a tough one. Biggest struggles as newlyweds.
So,
I'll let you take that one.
well,
As he looked at her.
I feel like we would have different ones.
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted things a particular way with like cleaning and stuff, but I didn't want to get upset with him
Because he's a
and
pig.
scare him off. No. I just didn't want to treat him bad for me wanting things a certain way. So I would have to like hold it in and just rethink of how I can rephrase things kindly, so I didn't cause something, So for me, a struggle, well, I feel like I never really got extremely upset at you for any of those things. but it's still a struggle to like see something and then
It's not in its place.
something's not put away in the right place. That I'm a girl, so it might bother you if you're a girl. But yeah, so
And I'm sorry to say, I've been married 25 years. It's still a struggle for my wife.
yeah, so
I'm so sorry.
I have that to look forward to.
Thanks, Arnell. Thanks. I wanted it to be a surprise.
You can change. You can change. Don't use my example.
I feel like he's improved.
I've improved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned a few tricks.
Slightly.
But yeah, it's kind of a struggle, like after a long day to see something and then you're like, but yeah, you have to not burst and be upset about those things.
Yeah. And I mean, my struggles. Can you re-ask the question?
Yeah.
Biggest struggle as newlyweds.
As newlyweds. Okay. Well, I'd say we were pretty we were pretty blessed with the marriage prep that we got, and it prepared us for having tough conversations and not, stonewalling things and not to being able to communicate, right? And so that we had that. There were times, I guess, when it felt difficult for me to communicate, whether if it's emotionally, like if it's an emotional response to something, just like anger really quick, and I don't want to respond in anger. So I guess being able to make sure I don't go that far and holding that in, similar, I guess, to her, but just different things, or maybe my reaction is a reaction to her reaction kind of thing. And so I guess keeping myself in check that way and remaining calm, not letting any emotion get to me to where I'm going to say something that I wish I didn't say, or,
Just being able to hold it.
Yeah, hold it in.
Yeah.
But I want to touch back on what you said, because it's important, because I don't want to miss it.
Sure.
And you said your marriage prep, your pre-Cana, you learned a lot.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that it was good for you.
Yes.
Your pre-Cana was
Yes,
good.
we had a decent experience. Yes, I would say.
Okay, because there's a lot of times that people go to their marriage prep, their pre-Cana, and it's just like, wah, wah, wah. Why
Yeah.
did we even bother to do that? They didn't get anything out of it. And I think it's very important, especially if you're listening out there, who you're in the marriage family ministry, that you're setting forth the steps for a successful marriage. And I think people who do marriage prep really need to invest a little bit more in doing it well, doing pre-Cana well, because I hear too many times that, it's like, is there another pre-Cana, especially in the English community? The Spanish community, I don't know. They seem to be active and alive, and some of those. I know in our parish, we absolutely do not have anyone who does the pre-Cana for English. So we send them somewhere else.
Wow.
And I think it's very hard to do it somewhere else because you don't have that relationship.
Right.
So it's just meeting with a stranger.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true, because I think part of that success was the relationships that we had. We had a good relationship with our priest and our marriage prep couple.
Yeah.
Our mentor couple. We had a good relationship with them as well, and so we felt like we could share things with them and talk about those things in front of them, or separately and then together.
They're really good friends of us still.
So like it's almost like pre-marriage counseling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Mhm.
because it's lifelong that you can actually grow into that. But I want to get to where you guys are going, and I'm trying to find that question that's really important.
Go for it.
And somewhere in here, oh, here it is. The person asks, who is your favorite coworker and why? And it's from mto.family.kinder.bobby.
Oh my God.
Oh, you've been discovered.
I don't know who that is, but that was such a good question. So who is your favorite coworker and
Oh
why?
my gosh, that's funny.
What did you do? We've been found.
Okay.
You've been found out.
I have top two is him. He's like he was my partner teacher last year. He teaches TK now. He has a lot of crafts that he would always share with me, because I'm really bad at prepping crafts for my kids. We wouldn't have arts and crafts if I didn't have any help. I would always look to other teachers. Oh, what are you doing with your class? Can you prep it for my class or whatever? So thank you for that. But I also really love my aide. Without her, there would also be no crafts. So I love her a lot as well. So top 2.
And you, sir?
Me?
I think you're part of this.
I guess.
By the way, do you guys work at the same?
No,
No, we don't.
we're different districts.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, my last year, I had a lot of help from my team leads. So in the grade that I was teaching. So I mean, when I would ever have a question, I asked them for help, and I got it. So yeah, that's all I can say really. 'Cause
He's not gonna name the person.
I was there less than a year. So, but anyway.
How has this relationship been different from previous ones that you guys had, if you had one?
I feel like the only serious relationship I had was with him. In high school, there was a couple of guys that I was with, but it was never anything serious. And I didn't even know who I was at that point either. I was just like, oh, everyone has boyfriends in high school. Sure, I'll go out with this guy. And then I think it was only them. And then between then and him, there was other guys that I was interested in, but they never officially became my boyfriend. But we would just like get coffee or
Group dates?
yeah, things like that. But it's pretty much it. He was my only serious relationship.
Wow.
Mhm.
Top that, Tony.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I had a previous relationship of 5 years, almost 5 years, stemming from high school and high school sophomore year, which lasted up until the start of my junior year of college, which coincides with my reversion. When that ended, that's when my reversion began. And that's where I was led. And in between that and meeting Jenny, went on a few dates with people I was interested in, and yeah, things didn't work out. And I took the time. I try to take the time, of course, to prepare myself before that, after that giant almost half a decade relationship, and that's what led me to my faith in doing so. And so, yeah, that's so completely different, because that was a relationship not at all centered on Christ, versus me here today with my wife.
Like night and day.
Night and day.
Night and day. And then you guys now do Spero.
That's
Are there any other ministries that you guys are active in?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say where there's any official ministries.
Mhm.
One thing that we're trying to embark on, I think, is to share the traditional Latin Mass with people. And so lately we're trying to get into the habit of inviting people to go to the Latin Mass, to experience it. It's kind of our own thing. I guess I would say that we decided together. And so we want to share the beauty that we found there with people. And yeah, so Clausti, San Secundo, they have Latin Mass there. And so there's my little plug.
High Mass and Latin
High
at
Mass and low
10:30
Mass.
and at 2:30 p.m.
Yes. Mhm.
Daily low Mass at 6:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
That's rough, but it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it.
It's right before you go to work.
That's true.
You can just leave it a little early and then stop by, quick 30 minutes with the Lord, and then head on to work. That's what I used to do when I used to work in Pomona. Work started at 8, so stop by, and then was exactly an hour to get to work
Awesome.
in traffic.
Wow.
So you guys have something to share with us, and I really want to hear it. But before you share that, I want to share some information about a friend of ours. His name is Tim Doe. He is a sales manager for Optimum Mortgage. And so if you're thinking of maybe refinancing your house or buying a new home, think of Tim Doe. His email is timdo@optimummortgage.net. That's optimummortgage.net. I'll give you his phone number. It's 800-676-0306. I told him I'd do this because he helped us refinance our home, so that we can do a couple of things, not necessarily do the podcast room, but my wife would kill me. But such a nice guy, and it's very rare to find someone who is Catholic, and so we always feature people who help out, who are also in the faith, and Tim Doe is that. So shameless plug there for Tim. So now back to you guys. So what's this thing that you guys really are yearning to share with youth, a young adult, who are going to listen to this and going to ask, where did they come up with that, and what is that, and how can I find that? Because there's many a times the most listened to podcast is on relationships.
Ooh.
So go for it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to say things. I'll just disclaimer now. We're going to say things that you might not like.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay. Any errors that we make, of course, are our own. All glories to God. The things that we say we've either learned or experienced it. We are not perfect. We are sinners. And did we do every single thing like how we want to say to the young ones? No, not exactly. But there was a lot of principles behind it that we believed in and followed. And majority of is what the church actually teaches. And so, well, the message that we wanted to give was kind of to people in different states of life, I guess, in terms of those who are discerning a relationship. Okay. Excuse me.
His
Okay.
voice is still changing.
No, this is my first week back at school and my voice is worn out. Okay. I had to yell at sixth graders and, so anyway.
Which backtracking, this is a really cute relationship because she's kindergarten, he's sixth grade. So he comes home frustrated and she's like, la, 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 la.
You would think.
The opposite.
We're both
I
frustrated.
have to teach 5-year-olds how to be in school.
And how to not poop their pants.
Oh gosh.
Oops, their pants. All right, so we
Okay.
digress. Go ahead.
All right. So one of the things that I see, or I have seen before, and maybe myself and friends of mine and people that I've known, is that people get into relationships when they're not ready to do so. Now, we're never perfectly ready for that, but there are some things that you need to have kind of figured out about yourself, what you want in the other person. And especially if you're Catholic or if you're a person of faith, you want to find someone who is going to help you grow in your faith, not take you away from that faith. And if you've recently broken up with someone, don't jump into another relationship because you're not ready to be there for someone else. I had this imagery of, if you are a glass, you shouldn't be empty, and you shouldn't be looking to someone to fill you up, right? Because that's going to lead to places where you shouldn't go. Do you want to add to anything on that? No, you're good.
She's like, for now.
Okay. Young men,
Yes.
including high school, sure, but also the young men in college. Don't be afraid to ask a girl on a date. We need more of that, because I feel like I've seen a lot of men who are too afraid to ask, and I was one of those people at one point where took me 8 months to ask someone out on a date, and I shouldn't have waited that long, so I'm saying, you men, be confident, because we need that kind of masculinity of taking charge and being intentional in that, in finding someone.
And I like how you said that. We need that masculinity. Because a lot of times in the secular world, in the world period, that what you just said would be construed as toxic masculinity. To go out and be confident about yourself, to be able to ask a woman out on a date. So how do you gauge being overly masculine where it's toxic and not? And how do you gauge when someone comes up to you and it's like, oh, you know, you're a little bit too aggressive? How do we gauge that? Because unfortunately, our young men, and this is me being honest, when we go to our churches, who's leading the churches? The priest is a male, but everybody else is female. From our catechists to our leaders to everyone who's serving in ministry and coordinator roles, it's predominantly female. Our youth ministers are predominantly female. And so who's to teach them, our young men, to be a man? And so are we saying, you know, are you seeing in cases where our young men are becoming more feminized, or saying, you know, I don't want to intrude on you. I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to. Do you see that?
Or I don't want to mess up our friendship. You know, I've heard that one too. You know, but it's if that person has the potential to be your spouse, that's worth it. Asking that question, and you know, you have to be okay with no. So when you say gauging it, okay, toxic masculinity isn't asking someone out on a date, but if you know they say no, well, you know, then at that point you got to figure it out and say, okay, well, no, that no means no. All right, that's fine, and be okay with that. The toxicity comes in where, you know, if you're trying to, you know, coerce someone into a date, or you know, or just pressing yourself too much. If they don't want, you know, if they're put off by that, then okay, you take your step back and you say, okay, you take it in stride. You go find someone else who will take you out on that date,
and still be a friend to that person.
And still be a friend. Yeah, don't totally cut them out of your life. That's the toxicity, is burning a relationship just because they said no. You know, you're fragile at that point if you're
not ready. If you're that fragile,
you're not ready,
not mature enough. Contact Tony.
I got you.
Yes, he has shared a lot of good wisdom like that too. A lot of our friends.
Yeah, I always try to encourage my male friends, you know, go for it. Ask the girl out. I see you, you know, go get that number or whatever it is. Set that date up, you know. I do try
even
to
in the
them.
moment he'll like send them a
I'll
messenger.
like, dude,
yeah.
I see you.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Jenny has something to say to the women on the flip side of that.
So women, if someone asks you out, go ahead and say yes. If something is really off by that person, like you wouldn't feel safe or something, then of course don't say yes. But if, you know, we would encourage you to say yes. It's just a date. You're not committing your life by saying this yes to him. Get to know him, see how it goes, and do something simple, not like a crazy big fancy date. Just go for coffee.
Get some coffee.
Smoothie.
What do you do? You know, yeah.
So is it okay, you know, say you ask girl out, is it okay for her to bring a friend just to be comfortable? Or is that, it's too awkward?
You might want to have that discussion prior with the other person.
And it becomes group dating.
Yeah, it's more group dating, and there's nothing wrong with group dating actually, because if you say, hey, I'll bring my friend, how about you bring one of your friends? I think that's okay. But if it's like me and her and her friend, that's a little weird. I think that's okay, and especially, you know, in the younger, if they're younger, I can see that being more appropriate.
I think people feel a little bit safer.
Yeah, and that's okay.
When that happens.
Yeah. Make sure you're in a public place, that you're not like, even a movie. I don't think a movie would be good.
You guys in high school,
you can't get to know each other in a movie.
Don't do the movie thing.
Don't.
No movie.
No movie.
It's like, I wish I knew.
No house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no inviting people in the house.
Mm-mm.
It's like, okay, here's one thing. My wife and I have this rule. Male friends do not go into your rooms.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Mhm.
Don't invite boys, don't invite girls into your room, because the room is for other things, sleep. And it's your own personal space. That's been our rule, that you don't invite,
Mhm.
you know, it's
Yep.
like living room, family room, dining room,
Mhm.
kitchen. That's it. Public places
Mhm.
where people can see. So no one has any odd thoughts of what are you doing in there.
Mhm.
I think the hardest thing for a parent to say is, what are you guys doing in there?
That's weird.
Never,
like-
you know, so
And like it implies something
Yeah, it implies
already
something.
happening, and
so
it
always,
shouldn't even be.
yeah, it's leave doors open. Yeah. I always like to tease, it's like we have this shower curtain.
Yep.
This curtain here, it says, I saw that.
Mhm.
And it's the Sacred Heart of Jesus leaning in and saying, I saw that. And I love saying that because I tell young men, no matter where you're at, no matter what you do, no matter how dark it is, and no matter where you're hiding, God sees all. So you can't really hide from the Lord. He
Mhm.
sees it. And so I love that. And that's why my wife hates it. It says, I saw that.
Oh my
She's like,
God.
don't you dare put that in the shower.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, no, it's not. It's inappropriate to put that in the bathroom. Sacred
Yeah.
Heart of Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah,
it's perfect right there in the podcast
Yes,
studio.
it
I agree.
is.
So go on.
Okay. Date with the intention to marry. That's another big one, because that's what we did. We, at some point when we were on a date prior to becoming boyfriend or girlfriend, we explicitly talked about, we shouldn't date just around, just to have fun, or like just to.
Yeah, a lot of people do
A
that.
lot of people do that. They were.
Go on dates with different people
Yeah.
just to have fun. And
Try them out and
Yeah.
test drive.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that doesn't work that way. And because what ends up happening is, you're gonna, if you get into a quote unquote serious relationship with this person, you're gonna be wasting a lot of time if you find out by the end of it your goals don't match up, and your life, your long-term, desires at, even something as reaching heaven, if that doesn't match up with the other person, well, you kind of just wasted all this time when you could have been seeking your spouse elsewhere.
Mhm.
And I'm real big on that, because there was a lot of time that I wasted in
Yeah.
my life because of that. And so you want to bring that up while you're dating, before you become committed boyfriend and girlfriend. Are we dating to eventually get married? That should be our goal.
Mhm.
And that's how, I'm pretty sure that's how it was in the olden days, right?
Why is he looking at me?
I don't know.
Why is he looking at me?
You're a source of authority.
But I did, with my parents, with my mother, she had a couple of advice. One, she said court. She never said date. She said court someone of the same faith, because it'll help you succeed more. It's a lot difficult, especially when you have children. Who's going to decide where they're going to be worshiping? She also said that when you court, remember, it's your whole family who's part of your
Mhm.
courtship. So she always says, don't embarrass the family.
That's a good one.
And so it's like, when you have a big family behind you, it's like, maybe we shouldn't go out. My family would get upset.
Yeah. Oh, we can talk about that a little bit. To your first point, I'll bring something else about that a little later, because I also really agree with you there, about dating within the same faith. So
Mhm.
we'll get to there. I did some homework, and I just wanted to read something from the Catechism. Okay, gotta bring that in a little bit.
Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah, there you go. So this is Catechism 1603, and it's on page 44 if you have the.
447.
Oh, sorry, 447. If you have this copy right here, if you can see it on the video. And it says, excuse me. Sorry. And it says, the vocation to marriage is written in the very nature of man and woman as they came from the hand of the Creator. The well-being of the individual person and of both human and Christian society is closely bound up with the healthy state of conjugal and family life. Conjugal meaning married life.
Mhm.
And so what this is basically saying is that okay, marriage is God-given, so that alone should make it super important. Okay, not something just to, oh yeah, I'm gonna get married someday. Who knows? Who knows what happens?
Yeah, there's no purpose.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what this quote is saying is that if we fail to find someone, or I shouldn't say that like that, but if the person that we marry isn't someone who's going to lead us to heaven, we're risking our well-being. We're risking the well-being of our society, and we're risking the well-being of the Christian body and generations of families to come.
Mhm.
Like you were saying, if there's discrepancies in the faith and there's issues that arise from that affects the children, you are potentially sabotaging, generations ahead of you, where they lose the faith because of if you don't have a healthy state in your married and family life. And we can see that a lot of the problems that we see in society are because of broken families. And I know that you mentioned where you work, you've seen that a lot.
Mhm.
As a teacher, we see it a lot in
Our students.
our students that come from broken families who don't have who don't have that support at home, who don't have parents that have a healthy relationship. And it comes out in what they say, what they do,
Mhm.
how they behave, how they respond, and it hurts to see that.
Yeah.
And so this is the importance of why choosing your spouse is important,
Mhm.
because you affect not only yourself and the other person, but society as a whole and generations of your
Mhm.
family, God willing, if you have children.
Mhm.
And I focused on the one word that you said, choosing your spouse. There's many people out there who look at that in dating and courtship is that, you know what, the Holy Spirit, God is going to bring down this person, and there's your spouse. But you said choose,
Mhm.
because you're out there looking for your spouse, the person who you're going to grow old with, who you're going to bear children with. And I love the thing that my mom had said, that one of your biggest roles here on earth is to bring back your children to heaven.
Yes.
We've heard that before.
that.
Period.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Mhm.
It's like in the Baltimore Catechism, it says, "Who made you? God made you." And why did He make you? It's to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him in this world, so that you can go back to Him in heaven. And that's what you should be teaching your kids, is that your purpose in marriage is to bear fruit. And if you're blessed to bear fruit, is to give that fruit, first fruits, back to Him.
Yeah.
Because that's what He desires.
Mhm.
He desires you to feel what it's like to be Him, to give your child back to Him. I love that analogy, that God gave us the opportunity to be like God, to offer up as a sacrifice our firstborn, our children, back to Him,
Sharing in His creation.
sharing in His creation.
Yeah.
That love Himself wants love back, our love, through our children.
Just on a side tangent, one of the most beautiful things that I want to share is this parallel between, since we're speaking about love, that's this parallel between the Trinity and married life. And now the Trinity is a mystery, of course, so any analogy is really going to fail in some way. So it's not perfect, and this is not intended to be like a sexual thing, but we have the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. The love between the Father and the Son is so great that it creates the third person, the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
Okay. The love between a father and a husband and a wife, the love is so great that it creates another person,
Mhm.
which is your children. And that was something that I heard once, and it blew me away, because it helped me to understand more what love meant in the context of our relationship together as a Trinity. Our love becomes so real that it creates a third person, like that's creating the mystery, how that happens.
That's true.
And then God, God the Father and God the Son, so great that creates a third person.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
I love it. I love you.
She's so cute.
I love you too. So that was a side tangent. I got more. Do you want to hear more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure our listeners are like,
oh,
yeah.
start writing.
Give us
Don't
some.
get in.
Write this down. Write this down, friends. Okay. So we've established that, choosing your spouse is important. It's your responsibility, really, if you're called to the vocation of marriage. So you better choose
right.
Choose right.
Choose well.
And I do want to add
Oh
something.
yeah. Sorry. You should start talking too.
It's okay. I know of women who might have a list of things they want in a spouse, but please cross off things like specific hair, specific height, specific weight, specific
Race.
hobbies,
Weight.
race. Yeah. That shouldn't be the focus when you're looking for a spouse.
You can have preferences. I think that's fine.
Mhm.
But
yeah, but like if someone asks you on a date and they don't match that list, you need to be open to who that person is, and even if they don't match what you want from someone.
yeah, did Mary say, when the angel came to her, say you're going to conceive a child? He says, well, is the child going to have, the child has to have this kind of color hair, this kind of color skin, this kind of blah 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 blah. No, she said, let it be done to me according to thy word.
Yeah, my wife wanted a child with blue eyes, blonde hair, less hair, and she wanted to marry a guy with no facial hair and light skin
Oh my.
and skinny, and she got none of that.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, honey.
But she got something so much greater.
Yeah.
Yeah, say it again so that she'll
Mhm.
hear.
She got something so much greater.
That's right.
We wouldn't
She's
be
in the-
here.
She's in the other room.
We wouldn't be here if Arnold's not here. Okay, so I want to give some practical advice for the do's and don'ts for dating.
Mhm.
So I made this fancy little table where
He's such a teacher.
there's a don't. Oh yeah, this is like
She's learned this from me. Organization.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She's taking ownership.
Don't I'd say don't primarily rely on the world for your relationship advice. I'm sure they mean well. The friends that you ask that are not of the faith, I'm sure they mean well, but they might not be coming from the same framework as you, and so you got to be kind of careful of that. What I would say you do instead is to seek advice from those who are married couples. Those priests, obviously, they can say something related to the scripture, of course, and the tradition of the faith. And couples, who are also practicing their faith. If you don't know any, go find them. If you don't have any of these things, go find them, because that's your responsibility, is to go find them.
And we're
Seek
here.
them out at mass.
Yeah,
Seek them
we're
out.
here for you.
And we're here too. So you can hit up Spero_worship, and guys message me, girls message Jenny.
Yeah.
We're gonna put their information in the right there
Show
in the
notes.
description.
Yeah, show notes. There you go.
Mhm.
Don't make an idol of the other person and put them on a pedestal, because that was one of my mistakes when I was an atheist, making that person the center of my world and making them my idol. They were the fill-in for God.
Wow.
And so when that person left, my entire world collapsed because I had made them my God. Okay. So what to do if you're looking for a good Catholic relationship is to, of course, visit the sacraments together, go to mass, go to confession together, adoration, pray for God's will in the relationship. You want to share your little story that you said?
So
Go ahead. Sorry.
So let's see. We fell in love pretty quick. Like, we said I love you pretty soon into our relationship.
About 3 months.
Uh-huh.
It's a safe time, I think.
Yes.
He was counting the days.
I was. No, I was. I really was, actually. I said, oh, okay,
He said it first.
I said it first.
So, yeah.
So yeah, I was planning.
Okay. Cool.
Go ahead.
I didn't know about that. Accounting. Sorry. I wanted to say that even though I thought he was so great and that I did want him to be my husband one day, every day I had to pray for God's will to be done. I had to be okay with the fact that maybe he isn't the right one, even though I really would want him to be my husband. Till the day we were married, I prayed for that each day. So I really recommend that you do that, even if you're in a relationship right now or your future relationship down the road. Pray for God's will to be done. Hope that he is leading you to the right person, and
Don't compromise your faith
mhm.
in a relationship. And instead, you should be learning together about the faith, and also learn about your role in marriage. Because, and this kind of goes to your pre-Cana thing. Well, pre-Cana can begin with yourself researching, what does a good husband look like? What does a good Catholic husband look like, before you even think about asking the other person to be married. And you look at yourself and say, well, I have these qualities. This is good. This isn't maybe so good. So, start looking at that. You got your podcasts, listen to this podcast.
That's right.
And read about it. I know Fulton J. Sheen's got 3 to Get Married. I haven't read it all, but people have recommended it.
I came across a really great video on YouTube that
Lots
really
of
helped.
YouTube videos,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, lots of YouTube. Make sure they're Catholic.
Yeah. Disclaimer.
Yeah. So even before we got engaged, like I knew I wanted that in our someday. And he gave me an idea of when he would ask me, because we knew he wanted to get married. But one day I found out that he was trying to talk to my parents to like finally, ask for my hand in marriage kind of thing. And when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. Am I actually really ready? And then I kind of got scared, and I had to tell him, hey, I know we want to get married, but please don't do it soon. I need some, I need some time to pray about this, because right now I'm feeling a little bit anxious, but I know I want to marry you kind of thing. So I had to really pray even more to God. Is he the one? Help me know that he's the one. Help me be ready. And I came across this really powerful YouTube video from a priest named Father Matt Hartley. And he has a lot of videos. I think he teaches like RCIA kind of thing, and does marriage prep too. He has a video called, let's see, The Vocation of a Wife, I think, something like that. The Vocation of a Wife. It's pretty long because it's like him teaching a class, and he posted it. But one thing that stuck out that he said, because things I was afraid of is him talking to my parents and them saying,
You need to wait.
You need to wait
till you're 30.
No, not that. Make sure you guys finish school, you have your career, that kind of stuff, which I always thought was a good idea. But he told me, you shouldn't have, you shouldn't check off all these things before we get married. We should just do it. And then I agreed. But then when I found out he was going to talk to them, I was like, oh, no. I don't think it's going to go well when he talks to them. So in the video, he said, let me think about it. I'm not going to get the phrasing right, but he said, you shouldn't have to, God is not going to look at all the things you accomplished in life. He's going to look at all the people that you loved. That's how you get to sainthood. You're not going to get to heaven by accomplishing your college degree, your career goals, all those things. You're going to get to heaven by the person that you lead, by the people that you love, and you lead them to heaven as well. And in the vocation of marriage, besides putting God first, you put your spouse next. And that will help you with your family, like how we mentioned earlier, leading our children to heaven as well.
So how old are you guys?
27.
27.
Okay.
I'm older by half a year.
Yeah, well, same as my wife and I when we got married. But so did you guys get married before you finished school and before your professions?
It was primarily me who was, she was.
I finished college. I had to get my teaching credentials, so that was an extra year. We got engaged my first year of teaching.
Yeah. So first year of teaching for her. I was getting ready to enter into my teaching program. I was substitute teaching prior to that. for maybe
But you were on your way into.
I was
your
on my way.
profession.
Yeah, I was on my way.
Because as a parent, the reason why I'm sharing that, because as a parent, as a Catholic dad, that is literally what you said. What you said is literally what I told my children, and it was what my parents told me. Is before you enter into this, make sure that you're finished. Make sure that you have a profession. Make sure you have the ability to provide. Because as also what my mom said is finances can be a huge struggle and burden in a marriage. And so if you are not secure, then it's a hindrance that doesn't need to be there. And although finances will always be a struggle in all marriages and throughout life, it's not something that you want to go into and say, oh yeah, we paid this $20,000 for a wedding and now we're in debt in college and debt in our wedding, but we had a great party and great pictures.
Yeah, so once I heard those words from that priest, that was like, it struck me really hard, and I was like, okay, whenever you're ready to ask me, I'll be ready now. But yeah, I still had to keep in mind that my parents might not agree, but I that's what I wanted. We had a plan.
We had a plan.
And that's good, because as a father, if you would have came to me, I would have asked you, what's your plan?
Yeah, we had a plan.
Because if you were saying, well, we're just going to get married, I would have told you no.
Yeah.
You cannot have my daughter say marriage.
Yeah, so
get out of here, loser.
We highly recommend you make a plan. You talk about this before you get engaged.
Make sure it's reasonable. And you also had to talk to other people too who were married.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of friends who I knew were married, a cousin. They all said, you're never going to be married. You are going to struggle financially and with other things, but God will provide.
Make sure when you make that plan, make sure it's observable, measurable, and have a time frame.
Yeah, and we did have all that, and so.
Because parents, especially dads, will just throw everything out. God disappears when it comes to their daughters.
Yeah, I love my parents, and I see where they're coming from.
Yes, and that's the thing, is that we know that those are,
because that's the essence of being protected,
right?
And as parents, we do trust the Lord, and we see the goodness in the men that date our daughters, or otherwise you wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
Period.
I love the dad talk.
It's like, I feel like he's my son. I'm like ready to choke him. But it's beautiful. It gives me, because I have two daughters,
right?
And it gives us hope when I hear things from young men like you and from young women like you, and who are entered into marriage, entered into matrimonial, sacramental marriage, and actually living the sacrament. That's what's beautiful, and I think that's what a parent's prayers are always about. Especially fathers who have only daughters, and then just allow my daughter to find her Joseph. That's every father's hope for their daughters, is that they find a Joseph. So do you have anything else to want to add to make sure that we cover everything? I mean, you have I have pages.
I have a thesis here.
He literally wants to do a whole month.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with it. So some people ask, well, when are you ready to get engaged? And so part of that is, and going back to what you said earlier, we don't encourage long-term relationships because that leads to sins of the flesh, temptation. Let's be real. We are fallen humans who have desires, and that only belongs in the context of marriage, within the teaching of the church. And I've seen it, people might justify their sin. You say, oh, well, we're going to get married, so it's okay if, we do this. So that, you're walking on,
you're playing with fire.
Playing with fire there.
Literally fire.
So and so when you're ready, when you're more ready, when you've talked to other people about getting engaged, you've gotten spiritual direction. That's what we did from priests that we knew. You've prayed together with them for discernment, and you've planned realistically what you agree on, for the future. And like you said, you have a plan, a measurable, observable plan for the future to get through your engagement and to get started, with the marriage. Don't shack up. Don't shack up, friends. Yeah, don't do that.
And if you're shacking up, one of you move back home.
Yeah.
I know in society a lot of people do that, but please don't conform to that.
Yeah, I mean, I did look, because I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey, and I don't know, are you familiar with Dave Ramsey? Yeah, oh yeah. So I'm a big fan of him, and one of the things that I love when he burns people is just like, it's like, oh, me and we're living together, and I say, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. You guys are just playing house, And so,
Literally.
yeah, he just says that you're playing house, because the other person can, if you're not married, the other person can leave whenever they want to, free
You're
of,
not committed
you're not-
to
and-
each other.
and
Anyone can walk away at any moment.
and financially you're not protected either,
Mhm.
legally. And one of the things that he says is that, financially, this is related to one of his episodes. It says, in a survey of more than 100 couples who live together, 71% of the women said that they would not live in again. And in practice, cohabitating couples who marry, many of whom already have children, are about 33% more likely to divorce than couples who don't live together before marriage. Okay, so it's
Because you're playing house and you're practicing to fail.
Mhm.
Because you're trying to find a perfect companion, and every single one you're comparing to the last one, which was a failure, and so you're just, it's a recipe for divorce.
Mhm.
In every single one of those, is that you're looking for, you're checking the boxes. Oh, this one doesn't, so I'm going to move on.
Mhm.
I'm going to shack up until then. I'm going to give my precious self to this person in the hope that they're the right one. Well, they don't put the ring on your finger and you don't really know that they're not the right one. They're not the right one.
Mhm.
So I love what you guys are saying. We're gonna have to come back for another episode of this because Tony has a thesis paper going on here.
Can I just add one more?
Yeah.
Throw one more? I know. Okay, so this is something that's helpful for a Catholic at any stage. Okay, this is any stage. Whether you're single, in a relationship, engaged, married, look at your life and what you're doing and compare it to someone who doesn't have faith. And ask yourself, if someone compared your life with theirs, would they know that you're Catholic? Would they know that you believe in and have a relationship with Christ? And is Christ truly on your mind, lips, and heart? That works for any station in your life. So if you're married, can they see the relationship that you both have with Christ in your relationship? Make it present if it's not. Yeah.
So question.
Yeah.
When are we going to see the baby?
Please pray for
Please
us.
pray. Yeah, pray for us.
Are you guys preparing?
Yeah.
We want a family.
We want a family.
Mhm.
We want a family.
So all you listeners,
Please.
you need to
Please pray
add
for
that in
us.
your prayers. The little baby comes because they're
Mhm.
ready
Super
and
ready.
waiting to be blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to.
Been waiting for
need-
this moment all month. I've always wanted to see how they're gonna look like.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
we
make.
did the face.
They don't
swap
come
thing.
out right. We're like, we did that. We did
Uh-huh.
that. And my wife gets us because we still laugh because we still have the picture. We
Mhm.
did it and it looked like our neighbor's kid.
Oh,
my
whoa!
God.
I was like,
hey, wait a minute.
Honey, that's not mine. Literally
Oh
looked
my
like Kenshiro.
gosh.
Our next door neighbor, a little kid, Kenshiro. It's like we did it. It's like that's little Kenshiro. I was like,
Oh no.
yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
no. Oh no. Oh no. No. No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they never come out right.
Yeah.
But you know what? When they come out, they're so beautiful. It's like that first experience. We could do a whole podcast on first experience when the baby comes.
Mm.
And we're gonna podcast that when you give birth
Okay.
live
Okay.
in the hospital,
Awesome. Great. I can't guarantee I'll be there. to
screaming and
talk
all.
to you. I'll be booth in the corner and interviewing
But
the
I
doctors.
do want to bring you guys back and talk about preparing
Okay.
for a child. No, because we are going to have a couple that has a newborn. But I really want to hear your story of your desires, his desires for children, and what you guys are planning, and the next step of marriage. Because you're newlyweds, you're living it out, and it's wonderful, and you're have that experience. The next step. Because there's so many stages where you just want to return them sometimes. Just kidding.
One last thing that I want to just little salt on the whole plate is that, of course there are exceptions to what we've said in some cases. People, I'm sure, I don't want to make it sound like, that you can only be Catholic and that's you'll have a great relationship. No, Catholics have fallen, of course, and people have come to the faith from outside of the faith. So I just want to preface that. I don't want to make it seem like we're condemning everyone to that, but the faith is beautiful, and we wouldn't have each other without it.
Amen. I love the story. I love your guys' whole love story, and folks who love stories, it's true. Miracles do happen. For Tony, miracles happen.
Yes.
For her, she listened to the angels.
Yes.
I'm her constant source of sanctification.
Yep, he says it all the time.
I love sanctifying by creating those.
By just being you.
By just being me. Yeah.
I think that's the role of husbands. We're here to make them holy. And they work hard. Our wives work hard to keep us holy.
They do. They inspire us. I'll tell you that.
I love this podcast. DTR. So fam, we can talk on forever, but we're gonna stop in here. And I just want to say, define the relationship. What is it? Have you not? In this case, these two individuals that are right next to me, Tony and Jenny, have, and it bore fruit with their witness to loving one another until death do they part. But how about you? Have you DTR'd? Are you the one still looking? Have you blown your past relationships? Well, I'm here to say that you have not blown it. Like Peter, who denied Christ 3 times, you, like him, have every opportunity to bring that about. Remember that Peter wept just like the others and grieved immensely when told that the Lord had risen, was the first one out of the door and the first one in the tomb, only to find the tomb empty. But the Lord did not leave him empty. Remember the folded napkin. A message was left for him. And for us, that is not the end. So for anyone who's looking for a relationship, who's fallen into a relationship, who'd have that crappy relationship, it's not the end. So if you know your scripture, you know it had a happy ending. And as this case with these two right here, and for you, so it shall. Trust in the Lord, define the relationship, surround yourself with holiness, and ask these holy people, how did you do it? I want to thank you too for a wonderful and blessed evening. Our guests, Jenny and Tony, may you continue to bless those whom you will definitely witness to in your missionary path to holiness. Until our next episode, thank you for joining us. We hope this connected. Send us a comment on our email at catholic.dad50@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram. As always, thank you for your support. Don't forget to give us a like and a review. And if the Holy Spirit calls you to be one of our patrons on patreon.com/disconnected, shameless plug, don't hesitate. We much appreciate your blessings to allow us to do what we do. But for now, until the next episode, live a life of holiness. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. And as always, be blessed and be third.
Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of the girls and boys. So sit back and relax, this is Catholic Podcast. Don't overreact if these thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by Catholic Dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at Catholic.dead and mini tangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed and be there. Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise. And see if this connected.
Amen.
So that's it.
All right.
So this is when Tony starts singing,
All right.
doing his rap. So dun,
Yo.
dun, 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 dun.
With my Jesus.
That's right.
All right.
So let me press